Hi, it's me again. This is Sunday morning. My assessment was on Thursday afternoon, uh, um, and I'm sorry this is so late. Normally, I would have preferred to have done a video that either on the day of the assessment or the day after, but I just haven't been well. Um, Before I continue, I'd like to uh, give a mention to someone who left a comment on one of my earlier videos, DJ Shawnee1. Um, Sorry I didn't get back to you. Um, I didn't I didn't get to read your first comment before I saw your second one, because your first comment, I go through the Creator Studio on YouTube, and the comment that you left about the paper-based assessment was in the likely spam, and I read the likely spam ones well after I read all the others, and I only looked in that after I saw your second one. So I do apologise for not getting back to you on that, but I read all the comments. I may not always have the psychological or emotional strength to be able to reply to all of them, and I'd like to thank all the people who've said something positive or given me advice that I have tried to follow as much of the advice as possible. But then someone wrote something on Facebook saying that the videos I do, although they don't reach a very large audience, give a voice to the voiceless who are going through this process. And so, DJ Shawnee one, I probably wouldn't have gone for the paper-based assessment, because someone has to catalogue how this affects people, the actual face-to-face assessment. So although I seem to be doing these videos for nothing, very few people actually read them, even less actually share them. Someone has to catalogue this shit. So I went to my assessment. I don't know how it went really, although when I went in, I had I had to have my pain medication, and I have soluble tablets for one of them. And as I was walking into the assessment with it, because they'd only just finished dissolving completely, I noticed I was shaking quite a bit, even though my ex-wife was with me. And it seemed like my IQ dropped quite a few points. In fact, I was probably at a level between houseplant at the upper level and Tory MP at the lower level. And I had a bit of a meltdown during part of it. I won't go into all the specifics, but the reason I don't know how it went is because you're supposed to be given a vision test. I had the 3 meters test, which has actually seemingly thrown up evidence that in the 5 months since I had my eye test, and it's just under 5 months now, that my eyesight has gotten worse, because even with my glasses I was having trouble reading the bottom 2 lines. I wasn't given the standard reading test because he didn't have the chart, and although he said he was going to go and get it towards the end of the assessment before he made me do the physical tests that they have to put you through, by the end of the assessment he didn't bother going to get the reading test, and he didn't bother putting me through the physical tests either, the upper and lower body mobility physical tests. Apart from how as you can see, even just trying to remember it is really making me feel scared. There was he said he wanted to disagree with something my psychiatrist put in the psychiatrist report, which was that there was no signs of self-neglect, or that I was not neglectful of my self as far as he was concerned. But the assessor said after the answers I gave during the assessment that he wanted to disagree with that, and that I did seem to be neglecting myself quite a bit. And he said, "Is it all right if I contradict your psychiatrist?" And I couldn't make the decision, because I was thinking, if he invalidates that part of my psychiatrist's report, then they may invalidate everything my psychiatrist has said. But if the assessor saw that I was neglecting myself, then maybe that would be better evidence. And I couldn't make up my mind, and I had to say, will someone make up my mind for me? Thankfully, my ex-wife said, yes, go ahead and do it. And I thanked her, because, like I said, my IQ had dropped. My brain function had dropped so far. In this assessment, I couldn't make up my mind. It could be a good sign that he didn't put me through the physical jerks and the second eye test, because maybe it means that on psychological mental health grounds I have hit the criteria enough to keep my benefit. But I'm also worried that maybe he didn't bother putting me through them because I haven't got enough points, and that means I'm going to lose my benefit, and I'm not going to know for 3 to 4 weeks. And I just don't know. I did get it recorded. This is the recording. It's 45 minutes a tape, and I've got 2 tapes to prove how long it was. I also broke down at a point where he said, or where he asked, when my last job was. When did you last work? And I had to say, 12 years ago, over 12 years ago, my brain was so fuzzy, I couldn't add the caveat, but I've done a lot of voluntary work up until 2014. I did a lot of voluntary work. So I couldn't add that caveat. So it looks like to him, I've probably been sitting on my arse at home doing fuck all. I mentioned several times about 2014 that my symptoms have gotten worse since then. And I tried to give a reason, but he never followed up. So I still haven't got on official record that it's the DWP making a mistake in 2014 that robbed me of my benefit for months. No sanctions, no nothing, their mistake. On top of everything else that went on that year, and that I've never recovered from that. But I actually felt my IQ go back up when I went out of the assessment and I was on the bus with my ex-wife going back to Southend. Because just going into that room, the stress completely ruins your brain. Anyway, the reason I didn't do a video on Friday was because despite the fact I didn't really want to go out, I realised I'd run out of I was running very low on my pain meds, the soluble ones. So I had to go out, so I thought I'd get a little bit of shopping. It was lucky that my ex-wife came with me. I think maybe she was worried because I had to go to our local Aldi to get a couple of bits that's the cheapest shop to get them. And halfway between there and Morrison's, where I got the rest of the shopping, I came over dizzy, very dizzy. I was having trouble keeping upright. It was only because I've got an old lady shopping trolley, 4-wheel shopping trolley, or technically 6 because it's got movable front wheels. And I asked my ex-wife, how do I look? And she said that I'd gone completely ashen. And I was like that for over an hour and a half. And I got home. I was not well for the rest of the evening either. Although the dizziness had gone. Friday night I didn't get any sleep until 5:30 in the morning, I think it was the last time I looked at the clock. I couldn't sleep at all. And yesterday I wasn't feeling the best. So that's why this video is being done now. I phoned my mum to let her know how I thought that the assessment had gone. And she said the most stupid thing. Try to forget about it. How can you forget about something that in 3 to 4 weeks' time, the decision could be that I lose my benefit or get a reduction in benefit because I'm shunted onto a lower paying benefit? How can I forget that? I can try to forget the assessment, although it's so traumatic. I don't think I'd ever be able to. But how can I forget about the whole process? Because the whole process goes on, and then even if it's a positive result, because of what happened in 2014, I will forever, every single day, even after a positive result, I'm going to be scared out of my head that someone's going to take my benefits away from me, either by mistake or by malice. So, anyway, that's how it went. I will be doing updates on the time between now and when I get the result, and I will tell you what the result is. I'll end this with a notation. When you ask for a recording of your assessment, you have to sign an agreement not to broadcast it. Now, I don't even know whether, because I haven't got a tape player that hasn't chewed up tapes in the past, I don't know whether this has actually recorded properly, because during the recording it kept on beeping, long beeps, and even the assessor didn't know what was going on. So I don't know whether it has recorded or not properly. So I mean, I would probably be prosecuted if I tried to broadcast it anyway, which shows you how secret they want to try and keep this. They really want to keep the secrecy around it. I know there's personal stuff that anyone would want cut out, but when he was asking me about all the physical stuff, I said, well, why not throw in the fact that I've got piles and they bleed occasionally. I mean, it wasn't as though he was slow to say out loud, I have sexual dysfunction as part of one of my side effects of my psychiatric medication, or I assume it's a psychiatric medication because it started happening after years of using cocktails of psychiatric medication. But I don't really care, but he didn't really care either. And so that stuff you may not want broadcast, but I would like to broadcast it. I'd like to broadcast what we have to go through, especially as it went on for over an hour. And it's only supposed to go between 20 and 60 minutes. And he also started the recording after he answered my ex-wife's question, which was, what are your qualifications? And he said, well, I'm a nurse. She said about that, and part of his reply, because I don't think my ex-wife actually asked the question, what are your qualifications? He said, you don't need qualifications, a specific qualification. It doesn't matter what branch of the medical profession you're from, because we have to go by the DWP's rules, and if it's not on there, you ain't getting it. You ain't getting your benefits, kind of thing. And makes me wonder why they even bother having healthcare professionals then, if you don't have to have any real medical knowledge on the different conditions. And actually, you should have medical. especially with mental health, because it's not something that is, you cannot physically test for, you cannot do like physical jerks within that assessment session. You cannot do a test for mental health problems, because mental health is very a subjective thing. There are some chemical markers, but they don't take blood tests, so there's no way of, unless you've got the qualifications to do mental health. People who are not qualified should not be assessing on the mental health grounds. So anyway, I think that, again, sorry for the length of this and the sort of slipshod way that this is coming out, but I'm still quite tense over this whole thing. So I'm sorry this is a bit long, but thank you for watching. If you do give a toss about any of this stuff, what people are having to go through, please share the video. And I really mean it, because I don't really get many viewers anyway, but even fewer are sharing these, and I am publicly humiliating myself to try and make a point about what people are going through, and I can only do that properly by cataloguing what's happening to me. But unless this message gets out to enough people, I'm publicly humiliating myself, even among the few people who've seen it, for nothing. So please share this video, and I'll see you in the next. Bye.